Hello everybody, my name is Simon, welcome to Flightpast, and we are in the Huey. I've got the Air America livery on. We're flying around southern Belgium. We're just south of the town of Charleroi, and we are continuing our journey following Napoleon all the way from Elba in his exile. He leaves Elba in March 1815. He returns to Paris, returns to the throne, and quite quickly he goes on the offensive, trying to outwit Wellington and Blucher up in Belgium before the Austrians arrive on the French borders in the east. If you've been following along, thank you very much for that. That's great. I hope you've been finding it really interesting. And for anyone who's new to this, what we do is we use Flight Simulator and its satellite technology, and some places it's photogrammic imagery, to get a really good look at the terrain. And if you've got any questions, just ask. We'll answer them. We're going to have a look. It's a kind of a joint thing to do. Always good to see other people's perspectives on this. We've been doing a lot of build up to this point, by the way, and we've been flying the helicopter a lot, but I will be jumping out a little bit more because it's a little bit easier to get to use the drone sometimes than to use the helicopter. So forgive me if you've come along for a lot more flight sim, but there has been a lot. But when we get to these smaller fields, it's a lot easier to use the drone. Now we got to the point. It's if you look up at the top there, that's the sort of route we've sort of been taking, and that's the main thrust, the main central column of Napoleon has taken this route from Beaumont to Charleroi, and with in a 3-column attack basically into Belgium. Napoleon has managed to force the Prussians back onto a place, a predetermined position that they've decided, which is called Sombref. And Napoleon gets to this place here, Charleroi, and he gets here at around about 11 o'clock in the morning. So he's set off at about 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's arrived here at Charleroi at 11. So it's taken them 8 hours for them to get to Charleroi. And this is an important point because this is where 2 roads basically meet going north. One is going to go ahead this way where these blue arrows are looking. This way. One of them is going to go this way to where these blue arrows are pointing here. This is going towards the Prussians. This is going towards Namur and Liège, the eastern side of Belgium, and that's the direction that the Prussian army are falling back on. We just rotate back this way. The other road out of Charleroi is the Charleroi-Brussels road, and basically that is where the British Army, the Anglo-Dutch Army, are stationed. Now, let's just jump out here. It might be easier. And get a good overview of it. So what you're looking at here is almost like a triangle going north. And this is where Napoleon forms this plan, what he wants to do. The reason why he's come here is because this the The Charleroi Brussels road represents the join in where the Prussians and the Anglo-Dutch armies meet. And what he wants to do is to drive a wedge in between these armies. And when he gets across here, what he's going to try to do is to engage one of the armies first, and by pinning in a sort of, and then by pin another one back. So it's the old sort of like you use a minimum to hold one and you hit the other one, and regardless of who it is he meets first, he will do it to either. But when he gets to this point, he realizes it's going to be the Prussians who have decided, possibly in error, to concentrate their army forwards at Sombref. But I believe it's something that they discussed. They had a meeting, Wellington and Blucher, back in, I think it was April, maybe May, a place called Thielmont, which is now called Tienen. And I think they could see this road that moved east-west. I believe it's an old Roman road, and they would use that as the access to move their troops east and west in the face of French. So this, you see these blue lines here. This is the sort of east-west access, where this is the area where the Prussians would concentrate, and over here, along this road, we discussed this in a previous episode. You'll see, first of all, this is the important crossroads in between the two. This is the Quatre Bras position, and the road carries on, and we get to a town called Nivelles on this side. So if you think of it from an Allied perspective, then depending on where Napoleon would come across the border, this makes some sort of sense as the first line, proper organized line of defense, because they probably calculated, if they had enough warning, that if they concentrated along this road at some point, then the other one could get to them within reason. Now, we've heard about Wellington sending out his orders. He hears about this concentration of troops. His rumours that the French have crossed the border at Charleroi. He's not trustworthy of that, though. He doesn't like... He's fearful of being tricked by Napoleon. But what he does do is he prepares his army. He sends out to his army, who are mainly cantoned over here on this side. He sends them to go to your, get your stuff together and go to your concentration point. And there's one guy, we've mentioned it, and I'll say it again. His name's Peponcha, and he's a commander of a division, Dutch division, Belgian soldiers, under the command of the Prince of Orange and the First Corps. He receives this written order to concentrate, and his orders are, which means he should go to Nivelles. But he's in this area, here, and he realizes that this crossroads is actually really important. So he disobeys a direct order from Wellington, and for that reason, it's most likely that the Quatre Bras was held by the Anglo-British army because of a Dutch officer's refusal to obey a command from the Duke of Wellington, which is amazing. I had David argue in a previous episode that, would that have happened if it was a British division? We would never know. So this, then, you can see this blue kind of triangle that I've mapped out here shows you the area of operations that we're going to be talking about in the forthcoming episodes. This is, you've basically got, on this apex here, you've got the Battle of Waterloo. On the far side there, you've got the Battle of Ligny, and you've got the French troops coming up from Charleroi, and you basically get Napoleon's sending Ney up this route here to take those crossroads, and Napoleon taking the rest of the army with his imperial reserve, up towards Sombref through Fleurus. Okay, so that's a little bit of ahead of ourselves. We're only around about 11 a.m. On the 15th of June. We've had Rail and the Erlon. They are pushing on the left flank. There's 3 columns coming into Belgium. They've been pushing from this side, forcing back the Zeiton's First Corps. And they're being pushed back, and they're being pushed back by a place called Courcelles and Gazelles. Think of Gazelles just as this airport now. This town below us is Gazelles, and Courcelles is behind us here where this marker is. Zeiton also moves his 3rd Brigade. He moves them there under the command of Major General von Jago. He moves them actually forwards. They feel that they have to delay the French a little bit more, and so he actually moves his 3rd Brigade from Fleurus here to Gazelles. So that move is it seems counterproductive because they're all pulling back, but First Corps is trying to slow down stuff. So he moves a brigade from here, basically trying to command these heights and slow down the advances of the 2nd and 1st Corps of the French, which swinging around from the left. There's the 2nd Brigade of Perch 2. He holds a place called Gilly. Let me see if I can find Gilly for you. I've got a different map here because it's clearer in terms of towns. So what you can see, we're in this sort of area here. You can see Gilly is this sort of northern town, village. Because Charleroi has really grown in terms of urbanization, it's difficult to sometimes see these places now. But we're looking possibly around about here. This is Gilly. And this is where Perch 2 has a brigade. So this is they're kind of the Prussians now surrounding the outskirts of Charleroi and trying to pull back at the same time. So Napoleon comes into Charleroi. He moves orders Rail's corps now to move around the north side of Charleroi towards Gazelle. So Rail's coming from this direction over from here, this direction here, where we last saw him coming across from pushing back the Prussians from Thil and Lob. He's coming this way, and he is now pushing up towards a gazelle, which is this village here. So he's definitely trying to move or go with the flow, but keep the the Prussians moving east, as much east as possible. He wants them away from the Anglo-Dutch on his left. Strategically, see, Napoleon is a very astute strategic planner. He's trying to get them to move this way, keep away from the Anglo-Dutch, don't allow them to get together, and try to defeat the Prussians as quickly as possible. At the same time, he's getting Rail's corps to come swinging round to the north west of Charleroi. He wants Gerard to move his corps to the east of Gilly. And remember, Gilly was around about here. He basically wants him to come through this area of across the river here, and by doing so, then he is threatening the left flank of Perch, and trying to encourage Perch to pull back from the heights overlooking Charleroi. Perch, though, is sitting in this position here, looking. It's kind of, you can see it's a sort of a high point. We're talking probably around about here. It's a high point here. And we're talking Gerard threatening him from this direction here, looking south. Perch is trying to delay the main column coming up this road here. At this point, Perch One's got 4 battalions of infantry, a battery of artillery, and in the reserve, he's got a further infantry battalion and some cavalry that are to his left. So a reasonable sized force here. They mention these streets, and I think you can see an example here. This is Gilly. These narrow streets make it very difficult for cavalry to operate in, basically. So it makes it easier to defend. And the whole thing about the way the French move, the cavalry tend to be galloping forwards, probing, pushing, harassing the rear guard. And of course, they get to a place like this, they can't operate. And so it forces the French to slow down and wait for the infantry to move up. On the Prussian right flank, we are talking around on this side over here, at the village of Gosselies. This is where Steinmetz, as his brigade, has been putting in defences here since midday. And Rail's cavalry, they've come from, they're pushing in from Courcelles, which you can see that marker just there. Rail's cavalry are probing along these roads. So this is from the French perspective, and you can see that there's that Gazelle's position is actually relatively higher coming up this way here. The French cavalry are again on this side doing the same thing. They're a little bit weary about pushing up these narrow streets, and they then again wait until reinforcements arrive. There was a guard light cavalry division comes up and 2 artillery batteries with some Duhesme's young guards. That whole delay allows Steinhans to pull his people across the river here, get back onto the top ground. And our hero, Gilhausen here, he's continuing to delay the French in this area around. They continue their withdrawal. They talk about getting to a place called Hepnignes. Let's have a look at, see if we can find that. Yeah, so this is eventually the Prussians will pull back to this village here called Hepnignes. Great name. That is probably and there's Fleurus, so we are looking. It's probably it's this is kind of at the end of a runway, isn't it? So it's this village here, I believe, is where they get to pull back. And we're talking this place the Prussians get to around about 5:30. Between 5:30 and 7 o'clock in the evening. So get your head around that. The attack begins at 3 o'clock in the morning. And so you can see in the distance Charleroi there. So they've come from the horizon over there and pulled back to here in about a day. At this point as well, Perch too can see that Vandamme, the French General Vandamme's corps has arrived, and he sends a request to Steinmetz to defend the village of Ransart, which is on the other side of this runway here. Obviously that wasn't there at the time, but Ransart is probably here. He wants let me just remove that map for him. He wants Steinhartz to protect him. Now remember, Perch is at a place called the Gilly place, which is over here to the south. But Steinhardt can't do this because he's already fallen back this way. So around about 6 o'clock in the evening, we were talking about Perch 2's defense of Gilly, which we looked at here. These narrow streets were causing a problem for the French cavalry. They were waiting for reinforcements, and around about 6 o'clock in the evening, the reinforcements start to arrive. Infantry begin to come into this area here, and with artillery, they begin to fire on the Prussians who are defending this area here. It's supported by the dragoons of Exelman, who try to outflank the position, and this meant that Perch's 2's position becomes untenable. He can't defend this position if he knows he's being outflanked. And Zeiton, the corps commander, the first corps commander, orders Perch 2 to withdraw. He's built up a barricade in the streets, trying to delay the French as much as possible. And he deployed a battalion of infantry at a place called the Abbaye of Soleilmont. Anything look like an abbaye to you? Let's have a look at the map. It's not clear. Let me just Google that. Abbaye Soleilmont is actually up here. Let me just zoom out and just get my bearings here. I think it's here. It's in this sort of park area. Let me just yeah, so this building here is where he has put some troops. And let's get rid of that. So yeah, it's if I can actually show you on the map, this map here, he's been defending Gillet, and the Abbaye de Soleilmont is actually this building here. And so, and that is this building here. We are looking to the southwest. So what we got here then is the Prussians are defending these narrow streets coming out of Charleroi, and then they're pulling back because they're being threatened being outflanked by cavalry. They leave barricades, they pull back, and as they do, and they leave a battalion in this abbey here. We're talking, this was around about 6 o'clock in the evening. Yeah, because they describe this place as a formidable building on a hill. I suppose you could say it's on a hill on the route out towards their concentration point. Perch's rear guard is now around about 2 battalions of light fusiliers. They're from the 6th and 28th regiments. They're charged by Excelmann's dragoons, and the 28th, battalion of the 28th, suffered badly. I think they didn't manage to get into square when they were trying to withdraw, and the 6th, though, did escape a mauling because the Prussian 6th, the West Prussian dragoons managed to countercharge Excelmann's cavalry. And the surviving members of the 28th managed to fight off several attacks of these French guard dragoons. At this juncture as well, you have French dragoon general called General Le Tour. He recognizes the white uniforms that the 28th Regiment wore as the former Berg Regiment, and this Berg Regiment had actually fought for the French. He calls for them to surrender, and he is shot, which is a bit of a poor form. Perch 2, then he's pulling back. His next place he gets to at 6:30 is a place called La Boussate. Now, I'm not sure this will be on here. I'm thinking it's down this road this way. Let's get the map up. I can't quite see where that is. We won't worry too much. Let's see if we can hear from the description. He arrives there at 6:30 and he receives the support of the Brandenburg Dragoons. And they manage to push the French back. To prevent them from chasing the Prussians up this hill. And Perch 2 continues then his retreat via a place called Borlay, and eventually gets himself to Ligny itself. Let's just see if we can find a place called Borlay. There we go. So, oh, there, Lambersart. Okay, so we can see that now. So he's actually retiring along this road here. He looks to be, I'll just quickly. So yeah, this is, Lambersart is actually, okay, so Lambersart is actually this place here. And he then carries on to a place called Bollay, which is around this way somewhere. Yeah, Bollay. Actually, that's called one Thursday Bollay, but this is the sort of direction he's going. So this is the Perch 2's line of retreat. So he's kind of coming back on the left, protecting the left flank of the Prussian army. He gets to this point here, and as you can see, this is when he eventually, you can get back to Lingmi, which is this village here. That seems to be a good place probably to wrap this little bit of a section up. I think it's time for me to take a proper break and rest my eyes and things. I might be back this afternoon on Twitch to live stream the rest of this, just to sort of wrap up this 15th of June up. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you're getting a bit of a sense of the sort of action that's going on. This is the level of detail we're going to go through for the whole campaign. We'll see these lines of retreat, we'll see these lines of pressing and the columns and how they operate. It's good that the Microsoft Flight Simulator gives us these opportunities to look at the sort of terrain, to see the distances involved. So you've got to remember, and this is something I think is really important, is that when you're looking at some of these battles, you've got to remember that these guys have been traveling a long time. From the 1st of June, the Guard leaves Paris, and we've now got to the 14th of June, and they've now walked a distance, marched a distance probably of 30 miles. You know, some of them have fought along the way. And of course, then you've got a thing where you're tomorrow on the 16th of June, 1815, you're going to get a battle. You'll probably be fighting all day. Then there's a retreat. So we're talking now 3 days of fighting and walking, followed by a 4th day of walking. This is for the Prussians, and then you know, to fight at the end of that day. And that's just the Prussians. So you've got to imagine the sort of how these troops feel by about the 4th or 5th day of marching and fighting. It's going to be pretty tiring and energy sapping. And so you've got to have this in your head whenever you're thinking about what these people are making decisions and how the actions happen on the day up the road. So, you know, hope that's insightful to you anyway. Okay, this is the bit. Got to do the bit. Got to do the bit where I say follow and like and hug and love and everything else, and I comment below and comment above and comment on the sides, and just be nice though, you know, don't have to be evil. And I'll see you in the next one, which will be coming up next on YouTube and probably a few hours on Twitch. Good to see you. See you soon.